You're here with Vince and Matt from the Montreal Marketeers. Why are you laughing, man? What's so funny?
Nothing. I didn't think you were going to start right away, Vince.
Nothing. Okay. We're here with Ben from Webrunner. Ben, how's it going? How's everything going?
Awesome. Glad to be here.
Awesome. So I hear that you're a guru when it comes to Facebook marketing.
Guru, you know what? Guru, I absolutely hate that word. Me that we're live, I'm going to accept it.
So let's start with, give the audience a bit about who you are, what you're all about, and then we'll slowly go into Facebook marketing and so forth.
Sure. So I'm 28 years old. I've been marketing now for, I want to say about 10 years, 11 years. It's actually a funny story how I got started in the whole online marketing world. I played competitive hockey growing up, and so right at 16 I left home, packed my bags, went to play hockey in Prince Edward Island, of all places. Basically from that point on, it was the quest to try and make the NHL. That was my goal, my dream. So hockey, school was off to the side, and hockey was what I did day in, day out. And I found myself, we had 2 hours of practice in the morning, and then 2 hours of gym time, and then I was home at noon, had nothing to do. Whole team's playing Xbox. There's only so much Xbox you can play. I'm a 16-year-old kid, so I'm like, I gotta find something to do with my time, something productive. And I forget kind of how it happened, but I spoke to my brother, who you guys interviewed 2 weeks ago, and he told me about this guy that he kind of spoke with that was just making a ton of money online in online marketing. It was the first time I ever heard the term online marketing, and I got super interested in the topic. I just headed over to Google. I started reading everything I could on SEO, pay-per-click, email marketing, all that stuff. And that's really how I got my start. I was like 16 years old, and I just couldn't get enough of it. I was just doing it day in, day out.
What interested you about it when you were
searching?
was
it like the easy money aspect? You thought you could really make it, or just like you're super interested in the subject?
A bit of that, but then I just fell in love with the subject. I just found it super cool, My father's also in computers, so I was always attached to computers, I would say. But just the aspect of online marketing really, I really found my passion. It was hockey and it was marketing. I knew right away what I wanted to do. So for those 4 years until I was 20 years old, I was playing hockey and I was learning marketing. I was, perfecting my skills as much as I could. And, there came a point where I realized, fuck, I'm not going to make the NHL, you know what I mean? So that dream kind of got shoved off to the side, and I ended up going to McGill. I told myself I'm going to sign up for their marketing program. I have to. It's my passion. I read through the curriculum, saw that it was all old school marketing stuff, the traditional old school stuff, the 4 Ps and all that boring stuff that I wasn't into. So I said, you know what, maybe I'll just do a minor.
Just offended me a bit, by the way. I love the 4 Ps.
Yeah.
just offended me a bit.
Yeah. The basics, right?
Oh, here we go.
He's a pretty basic guy, my buddy here. Likes the basic things in life.
Promotion has a lot of different facets, including.
You're right.
It's okay. Don't take offense, man. You don't have to reply back to the guest when you think.
I know.
He's a guest.
I know. I'm sorry.
So I basically said, you know what, I'm going to do a minor in marketing, and I'm going to do something more general. So I did my major in economics. I played hockey there as well. I stretched it out because it was probably the best years of my life. I was having a blast there. So I did it in 5 years instead of, it takes 3, plus being that I was playing hockey before. I had to do kind of an extra year to catch up. I was missing out courses and stuff. So did 5 years of that, but it was another 5 years of me kind of perfecting my skills on the side too. And at the same time, I was working here in the summer at Webrunner, helping out. I was doing some consulting and also, putting my skills to work here as well.
Did you actually enjoy the marketing courses at McGill, or not really? Like you just did it to get the diploma?
Not really. Like there was 2 courses that kind of focused on digital marketing, and I could have probably taught the courses,
Okay.
And I'm not saying that to show off or anything. They were just really basic stuff.
Yeah, Concordia was the same way.
Yeah.
Very, very basic.
I believe there was one course that I saw at Concordia that was really interesting. It was an analytics course. They have a really solid professor there.
Okay.
I'm forgetting his name, but he's really known in the Montreal space.
Yeah.
So.
I took a certificate at the University of Toronto just because.
Yeah.
So let's try to do because there wasn't enough at the time.
Enough.
And there still isn't today.
Yeah.
Not in Montreal, in the States. Yes.
Yeah. No, I remember the promotional class I took, like Mark 3, 51 or something, and we were evaluated on out of home marketing, which is basically billboards.
Right.
We had to build a plan based on billboards, and I'm like, well, I'm doing this. Like, is this really that important? Like, even if you still do a billboard, like, how many people will actually touch this in their life? Like,
it's not cutting edge.
Yeah.
By any means.
But
it's funny because so you finished your university education. Your brother had a different path.
Different path.
What do you think on, like? I think I know the answer to this, but in terms of where you learned the most, was it in school, hands-on? I know your brother said hands-on when he started Webrunners, when he started learning a lot.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
Definitely hands-on. The years I spent just doing my own stuff, researching, reading is when I learned the most. School obviously is good, it has its upsides, of course, but I feel like, if I were a dentist, it would be more fitting to go. You have to go to school for that, right?
It's not a trade in the sense that it's
exactly,
but you have to learn certain things to be able to be a dentist.
Can you tube to pull out a tooth?
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Good. Well, that's what your dentist did, right?
That's my barber.
Barber, yeah. Sorry.
But with digital marketing, it changes so fast, right? The schools can't really keep up with that stuff. Like the stuff that worked last year on Facebook doesn't work anymore. So it's really, you got to really be in the trenches and doing it day in, day out for customers, learning, testing things. That's the only way you can really stay afloat in.
So before you got into marketing, like on the hockey side of things.
Yeah.
Like, is that kind of where you got the same drive, or you applied the same, like, I have to train, I have to stay rigorous?
Yeah, it's the work ethic thing, right?
Yeah.
That was our life. We woke up, we went to the gym, we practiced for 2 hours, we ate well. It was really just a work ethic thing, and I think it kind of translated into everything I do.
Yeah.
Same thing at McGill, even though I wasn't super interested in what I was studying, still that work ethic was what got me through school. It was hard to go from doing no school for 5 years to a full course load. That was definitely a tough move. But again, the work ethic kind of followed through.
Did you ever mesh the marketing side and the hockey side together?
Yeah. So once I'm glad you bring that up. When I was working on learning all this online marketing stuff, I was playing around with a whole bunch of projects. Like I had a website on the side that was selling Kindle covers.
Nice.
Right, and I was just trying to rank little articles for certain keywords to get people to come to my site and buy Kindle covers off Amazon, so I can make a few dollars here and there. And some of them flopped, some of them worked well. But at one point I said, what, this is not sustainable. It's not something that's going to last. So I wanted a project that I could kind of put a lot of time into and kind of see some kind of financial reward, and also provide a ton of value for a certain subset of people. And exactly like you said, I kind of meshed the two together. I meshed hockey, my passion for hockey and for marketing, online marketing together. And I threw up a hockey website that's basically helps hockey players with the mental side of their game. So it's really, content focused on improving your hockey sense, shares a lot of the stories that I went throughout my career. I had a lot of ups and downs. I won some championships. I lost some championships, so I share all my personal stories and stuff. That's kind of taken off. It's my side gig now. So, it does drive a decent amount of income for me on the side, which is great. And I still put time into that, and I'm going to continue growing that because it's one of my passion projects as well. So it's really cool.
So at the time, when did you make the website? And how did you actually grow it? Like, what was the actual task of doing it?
So, funny story. The first time I kind of launched it, it was when I didn't know much about marketing. So I wrote about all aspects of hockey. I wrote about hockey training off ice. I wrote about nutrition. I wrote about a whole bunch of different things, and nothing really stuck. I wasn't seeing any traction. I wasn't getting much traffic. So I actually took the website down for a solid 6 months, and I'm like, I got to reposition this thing properly if I want it to work, right? There were already a ton of people doing the whole hockey training thing, providing workouts and that kind of stuff, and they had a whole bunch of accreditations that I did not have, so I didn't have that credibility. So I said, I don't want to compete with these guys. I won't be able to. So I kind of thought, what's the angle, the position I can take that I can make the most impact and really make a name for myself. And there was no one really doing the whole mental side of the game, like the sports side of the game, even though I'm not a sports psychologist. I did take some classes in school, so I had a good
when you say that, you
foundation.
mean like the acceptance of losing
Yeah, like
championship.
yeah, I had a lot of personal baggage. Like I was my first year in junior, I was scratched for half the season, so that takes a toll on you mentally, right? You go from being the hometown hero here in Montreal to not playing once you climb the ranks, and then being on the worst team in the league, and then being traded twice in a month, right? So all this adversity and having to rise to the occasions, and then winning a championship in major junior, and then winning again in McGill. So I have like a lot of stories too that I can get young players to relate to, and hockey parents as well. So I said, this is my angle. I got to share my story. I have credibility there because I've done it. So that's the second time around. That's the angle I took, the positioning I took, and it just kind of took off. I sat down and I said, what kind of content can I create to get my ideal audience to my site? It was brand new, like zero traffic. And I think I kind of struck gold. I think it was the third article I wrote, and it was an article that was geared specifically towards hockey parents, because I knew how much they wanted their kids to make the NHL.
We're talking about personal experience over here.
Yeah. Also, right. So the hockey parents are more excited than the kids sometimes to make the NHL or whatever. So I wrote an article really geared towards them, and I think it was titled. It's still the most popular on my site. It's called 7 Things Coaches and Scouts Love That Your Son's Probably Not Doing, or something like that, right? And it was like high level points. It was a list post, your typical list post that gets, a lot of traction. Yep. But it was well written and well formatted, and it was maybe 3,000 words. Like I put a lot of time into it.
I just want to touch a bit on what do you mean by well written, well formatted? When someone's listening in, how can you explain to them what that means?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, great question.
Oh. So, we're never coming back at the assaults ever again, by the way. Just so you know.
The next one you interview is the dog. To answer your question, a lot of, back in the day, SEO was really just keyword stuff in content, and you had these big walls of text that no one could read. Right?
Like black hat stuff?
They were just boring. Yeah, they were filled with keywords. What I mean by well written is something that's easy to digest and that's really interesting. So really, really like short sentences, short paragraphs, nothing too long. If people see like a paragraph with 6, 7, 8 sentences, they're just not going to read, right? So keeping paragraphs short, using as many images as possible, breaking up the text as much as possible. So I had like click to tweet boxes in there. I had, kind of just tip boxes, which were a different color with like the key takeaways from each point. Just helping to break up the text makes it more digestible, especially on mobile now. Because if 3 sentences on desktop looks like 10 on mobile, right? Because it's so short. So really just a lot of like interlinking and stuff, making the post easy to read, easy to consume was super important. And I didn't even write it targeting a specific keyword. It was just something that I knew people would be interested in. And I posted on Facebook. I think I put maybe $50 to promote it, and it just took off like wildfire. Like it just started getting shared like crazy. And I think within the first 7 days, I had maybe 3,000 shares just on Facebook alone. And people started signing up to my email list, like thousands of people. And that's kind of what kicked it off for me, was that one win. Yeah.
At that time where you paid for ads, you wanted to obviously boost your viewership. Were you getting revenue from the website at that time? Or?
Not at all. No, I just knew that, hey, down the line, if I do want to make revenue from this, I'm going to need a readership. I'm going to need an email list. So that was, the idea behind that. Pay a bit now, out of pocket, and then later on kind of make it back.
Is that a strategy you continued until you decided to somehow monetize the website? Or?
Yeah, I continued kind of just putting a bit of money behind each article. Again, that only works if your content's good, right? Yeah. So that was always my focus. It would take me sometimes 40 hours just to write one blog post, but it was kick-ass. It was really, really solid. So it was definitely quality over quantity, and with a bit of paid promotion just to help it kickstart, get it started. And that's been working up until now, and it's grown my email list significantly. And then when I did launch a product, which was back in July last year, I had an audience that was just waiting for it. They were asking for it. They were like, Ben, please come out with something. So they were just ready to buy. So it was awesome.
What was the product you launched?
It was just an ebook. It's a 160-page ebook, so it's pretty meaty, but it just goes more in depth than some of the blog content that I was writing. So it was a huge hit, and now it's still going strong. So
cool.
Yeah.
So when you produce such a long form piece of content,
yeah.
When you're looking for future inspiration for a post, let's say, would you actually dip into that 160-page ebook and say like, oh, let me give a little preview on this subject I've never really talked about before?
Yeah.
Like how does that work out for you?
Yeah, that's another great question. You guys are full of them.
Oh yeah, 1-to-1 now.
So one of the strategies, right, is so I've got this book that I want to sell to people, and so a lot of the blog content, like you said, is just a teaser to the book. So I give them a little taste, I provide some value, and I say, hey, the next logical step for you is to purchase this book if you want. So that's kind of the sequence. I pull bits and pieces out, and I might position them differently, just to make sure that it's new, unique content and it's helpful. But the book is always the next step for them. If they like what they've read and they want to learn more, I pitch them on the book type of thing.
Okay. And we decided what to write about in the book. Did you use like your previous posts to see what people were actually interested? Like, did you use your analytics to make your decision on what to write about?
Yeah. So I used analytics to see what my most popular content was. So the popular categories. That gave me a ton of insight. And I also used, so I have an email sequence. So someone signs up to my email list, they'll get emails for the next 2 weeks. They'll get one a week or something like that. And the first email they get kind of asks them what they want to learn about, right? So that pretty much goes out every day because people sign up every day. And so my inbox is pretty much filled with stuff they want to learn about. And I just auto tag it. It gets tagged as, customer insights or whatever. And then once a month I'll go in and I'll just click customer insights, and then I'll just see all of the questions that people are asking. Sometimes it's the same questions. If I haven't addressed them, then I'll just build content for what people want to learn about. So it's a good way to kind of source ideas for content. So that's kind of what fueled the book. Yeah.
And for hockey, it's obviously a thing of passion, right?
Yeah.
Like it's try to transition here from an interest of passion versus a business.
Mm-hmm.
How does that translate to if you're a business and you have to try to create content for your viewers and all that for your potential clients? Like, what approach would you take based on what you've done with your own personal blog on hockey?
I think it's very similar. I mean, you want to be, like, for instance, for us, we're a marketing agency, right? Obviously, our end goal is to support, right now it's contractors, support contractors with their marketing, right? It's a done-for-you service. At the same time, there are contractors that might not have the budget to hire us, or they want to do it themselves. They have a team in-house. So the content we'd be writing for these people is pretty much is actionable stuff. It's it's the stuff we're writing now. It's how do you get more leads for your contracting business using Facebook ads. It's really hands-on stuff, just kind of showing off our expertise. So they can take the content, go and do it themselves if they want to. Or if it's over their head and they really need help, then they can kind of hire us. So it is very, very similar. It's really just give, teach, and if they need help, they'll raise their hand and they'll give you a call. So.
I guess the idea is they'll need help. They'll think of you first, and you become a point of reference.
Pretty much, you're seen as the expert, right?
Yeah, for that type of project.
If they're seeing Webrunner Media contractor marketing experts everywhere. And we've got articles on AdWords and Facebook, which is what we're doing. Then if they do need help down the road, ideally they call us. That's kind of the goal. So.
And when you say expert, before we were talking about easy to consume content.
Yeah.
Do you still take the easy to consume content with the expert size of it, or you actually go more in depth, more like a harder article to read with details? Like, how would you work that out?
Yeah, so you definitely have to tailor your content to who you're talking to, right? So contractors aren't marketing experts, so the content is a little more I would say high level, but it's still actionable. It's more like a step-by-step how-to type stuff without getting overly technical, because they also don't need to know the bells and whistles and all that stuff. They just need enough to make something work for them, and then that's it.
Or at least make a decision that you're the right
exactly
person for them.
Yeah. Or not even just you're the right, though. Like, when you're looking at a bunch of people, like not only does it make sense what they're saying for me to understand, but no one else is doing this. Like it's a lot of you're right. It makes a lot of sense. So on the Facebook side of it, because I know Vince wants to talk about Facebook.
Well, before we talk about Facebook, I want to.
Here we go.
I want to ask one more question on the content.
Yeah, he's getting ready though.
I want to talk about amped pages.
Amped pages.
Amped pages.
Okay.
Because it's just something that's been like tinkering around in my own head for our website. We moved our website over to amped pages.
So let me just. So what Vince is trying to tell you is I get a phone call at 1 o'clock in the morning. Matthew, I moved our website to AMP. Vince, what is AMP? I'm sleeping. No, you don't get it. I moved it to AMP. It's amazing. So go on, Vince. So what do you think the actual effect of it is?
So you're changing the way the content's being displayed.
Yeah.
On the actual mobile, it's faster. So it's taking away the scripts that take longer load times and so forth. Maybe video content. Problem with that is that it changes the format and the look of it. So you kind of lose a bit of control, I guess you can say. For sure. Yeah. Over
that's the trade-off.
That's the issue, right?
Yeah. Like the way we format our content right now, there's no way we'd be able to do AMP because it would just break everything. So it is a trade-off.
Okay. But then you're working with like Google, for example, the beast that they are. Yeah. They'll take your AMP pages as priority. Right? It's part of the algorithm.
That's true.
So what do you feel? What's the devil you choose to do? Is I guess what I'm asking.
Yeah, I think it's really. I think it comes down to a question of speed. That's what AMP the big factor is speed. Mm-hmm. From what I understand from it, anyways. I haven't dived too deep into it, but. If you have really good hosting and you don't have a heavy website with like tons of plugins or whatever, your website's going to be fast enough to kind of compete. I don't think you have to go crazy and do AMP just yet. But
so you're saying maybe Vince did something bad?
No, I don't think it's bad. I just think
you can say it's okay.
I'm ahead of my time.
He's blazing the path. As I said,
No, I can see in the WordPress site. When I was reading up, it was saying like when you have your website built. Squarespace that's kind of embedded in. That's one thing.
It's exactly it.
When you do it with WordPress, because you're using a lot of free tools usually when you're using WordPress, and that you might not know what you're going to come out with.
Yeah, it depends. It depends how many plugins you have. What kind of formatting and stuff you use. It could break a lot of stuff. But if you were to start like a new website today, having AMP in mind would be really wise.
Okay. So I think it goes back to what we discussed before. In the end, no matter what you do on that standpoint, content will still be the key, like it's it's like I think focusing on the details.
You need to have great content. I won't say good content, great content.
And I think we were talking about before, like how it would, the way you guys structure your site, it would just break it basically. Yeah. So the UX would be off.
Exactly.
So even though on an algorithm sense for like SEO or whatever, like it just wouldn't make sense. The user wouldn't be happy.
It just sucks that the user wouldn't be happy, yet you're kind of rewarded by Google. Mm-hmm. That's where I find
some people that take the easy way out, and some people that actually do the work.
I mean, Google does look at UX, right? So
they do.
If you switch to AMP and then your UX is off, and your dwell time, which is how long people spend on your site, goes way down. That's also not good. Right?
Honestly, Vince just wants a free consulting. He really needs help. He's the one that takes care of our website, and honestly, sometimes I wonder.
Video website. I'm not sure why I have him around. It's just for his good looks, but even then, he needs a shape. But okay, so let's go on. Continue on your Facebook now.
Yeah, so Facebook. So if you don't mind, like for people who've never done Facebook ads, or even ads in general online, like why Facebook, and what's the basic things you have to grasp about it?
Yeah. So why Facebook? I mean, Facebook right now is still I think one of the biggest opportunities for businesses, marketers, anyone really. Reason being because it's still super cheap, and there's as competitive as it is, there's not very many people doing it right. Back in the day when AdWords was new, Gary Vee was spending $1 on keywords like wine, and he was absolutely crushing it. He took over the market, right? So we're past that stage now for Facebook. It's been a few years, but there's still an opportunity to make Facebook work. Kind of the second reason is the targeting capabilities are insane. Like there's no other platform that even comes close. So for a business that knows who their actual customer is and knows a lot about that customer, it's probably the best platform.
Can you give an example?
I mean, I can target someone who's on the market to buy a minivan within the next 60 days. Like you can't do that on any other platform. It's really crazy what you can do. You can target people whose birthdays are in a certain month. Like it's insane. So Targeting capabilities is a massive one. And I mean, it's really tough to beat right now. I'd say Instagram is up and coming. It's also part of Facebook. That also, I would say, is becoming a huge opportunity. But right now, Facebook is still really king. And they're always coming out with new inventory, so new spots where you can advertise. Now you're able to advertise in groups. You're able to advertise through Messenger and Messenger bots, and like it's getting really advanced. So the news feed, it started off in the news feed. It's expanded quite a bit since then. So.
Would you worry if you're investing your personal time and getting good at Facebook ads? Do you worry that you're gonna get to a point where it's so like spammy that like people are actually who's interested in Facebook? Like, how do you?
I don't think so, because Facebook's main goal is they want to keep people on their platform as much as possible. That's how they make their money, right? They keep people on their platform. So as soon as there's spammy ads and stuff, people are going to move away from Facebook, and Facebook's going to go down the drain. So that's a big part. That's a big reason why they have what we call relevancy scores. So how relevant your ad is. If your ad is really relevant to your audience, you'll get like a discount on costs and stuff like that. So they kind of gamify it like that for marketers.
Okay.
So that we do our best job to put something on Facebook that's actually engaging for whoever's kind of seeing the ad. So.
And what is the relevance score made up of? Is it just are your words, just for those who are listening, your words you use are tied in with your audience?
Yeah.
How is it actually?
So maybe I can give like just a quick overview of Facebook ads if you guys don't mind. So there's really, Facebook comes down to delivering the right marketing message to the right person at the right time. I know that's kind of a cliche marketing thing, but at its core, that's what it's about. And there's three things that kind of allow you to do that. I talk a lot in threes because it's super easy to understand. The first thing is traffic temperature, right? So this is something that a lot of people get wrong. Traffic temperature is there's cold traffic, there's warm traffic, and then there's hot traffic. Okay, so they're completely different, right? And you have to speak to these people differently based on where they are. So cold traffic is really the people that have never heard of your brand, your business, what you're selling. They've never had any interaction with your brand. That's what cold traffic is, right? Your warm traffic is people that have already interacted with you at least once. They've watched a video, they've liked your page, they follow you on Facebook, they're on your email list, whatever, right? They know who you are, they know what you have to offer. And then your hot traffic is people that have bought from you already. Okay, they're your existing customers, they're your ambassadors, they're the people that love what you do, type thing. So those are the three audiences, and you have to speak to them differently. If you speak to your cold audience like you speak to your warm audience, it's not going to work, right? If I go out to someone that's never heard of my business and I pitch them on $1,000 product, they're not going to buy from me, right? But if someone's been seeing 6, 7, 8 blog posts from me, they've read stuff, they know that I'm an expert in Facebook marketing, they might buy my Facebook marketing course at $1,000, right? So that's traffic temperature. That's the first thing people get kind of wrong. Once that's out of the way, then you have to understand audience types. So there's 3 audience types. The first one is your custom audiences. Okay, custom audiences is audiences that belong to you. So anyone that follows your Facebook page, anyone that's on your email list, anyone that's been to your website and left. It's anything you own, right? And most of it is based off the Facebook pixel. So a Facebook pixel is just a little piece of code you put on your site, and then it tracks everyone that comes and goes and comes and goes. So you're able to build up these pools of people that actually engage with your brand and then view stuff on Facebook. So those are your custom audiences. Anyone that has interacted with your brand before, which falls in line with the warm audiences, right? Then we have what is called the lookalike audience, which is basically saying, hey, I can take one of these custom audiences and tell Facebook to find more people like this custom audience. So if I'm a small business and I have an email list of 1,000 customers that came in and bought something in my store, I can go to Facebook and say, hey, Facebook, take these 1,000 customers and find me more like them. So you basically just upload your 1,000 emails into Facebook. Facebook goes out and says, okay, these are the top 1% of people that look the most like your customers. So then those are really good prospects, but they're still cold traffic because they've never engaged with you.
So what does look-alike mean? Like what variables do they actually take into consideration?
They take into consideration age, location, likes, dislikes, interests, purchase behavior. Like they have a ton of data.
It's linked to their login account with the email and so
exactly. They know what they've purchased in the past. They know which pages they like. They know what they like, comment, and share on. It's really advanced. So that's another one of the big opportunities that Facebook has is lookalike audiences, and other platforms are starting to put some together. Like LinkedIn recently has matched audiences now, and AdWords is working on that as well. So that's your second audience type is your lookalike audiences. And then your third one, which is where everyone kind of starts and is the complete wrong thing to do, is what is called save audiences. So that's when you go on the Facebook platform and then you start typing in interests, right? You're selling a green smoothie and you start typing in, okay, yoga classes, yoga instructor, like all this, foodie stuff, and whoever you think
Montreal or this whatever located around 10 kilometers around your
exactly right.
Facility.
So that's you're really taking all of the pressure on your shoulders at that point. You're not letting Facebook do any of the heavy lifting for you with like a lookalike audience, with all their data, whatever. You're really saying, hey, I know my customer best, and I think that they like this, and this, and they're this old, and they're only males, which can work if you really know your customer, but it's also the hardest to make work, right?
Okay.
So that's always our last resort. We only do that if we've maxed out our custom audiences, which is people that have already interacted with us. They like our Facebook page, Instagram, all that stuff, our email list. And if we've maxed out our lookalike audiences. And lookalike audiences can be huge, like in the millions, right? So it's rare that we really get to interests. We'll always test it every now and then, because you never know, right? You can strike gold if you really know your customer. They might like, if you're going after entrepreneurs and you try Gary Vee as an interest, you kind of know that there's entrepreneurs there. So those are the three audience types that you kind of need to understand. The last step is your marketing message, right? So this is your actual ad, and it's what you're going to be showing people. Again, here there's three things you got to pay attention to. So the first one is your offer. It's what are you showing people? What are you actually advertising, right? When you're on Facebook, people are on Facebook to look at pictures of their nieces, their nephews, their cats, their dogs, right? Funny videos. They're not there to be pitched or sold anything. So if you're going after a cold prospect that's never heard of you, if you put, a sales message in front of them, it's probably not going to work. It would work better with either a warm or hot end, and someone that's, knows who your brand is, or someone that's already bought from you, right? So number one is the offer. And I can give you guys examples of different offers if so for example, a roofer, right? If I'm trying to get leads for a roofing company and I'm running ads to cold traffic that has never heard of the roofing company, right? I'm not going to go and say, hey, here's a discount on a new roof. That's not going to work, right? Instead, what I would do, let's say it's a metal roofing company, right? Metal roofs can be $40,000, $50,000, right? It's a long sales cycle. No one's just going to buy because you offer a discount. So that initial touch point to cold traffic might be a video explaining the benefits of a metal roof. How much money you can save on heating, how much money, how much more durable it is, how much longer it'll last than a regular roof. So I'm educating the customer. I'm saying, hey, did you know XYZ? Metal roofs are better than slate for this reason, that reason. So this would be the initial touch point to kind of warm that cold traffic into warm traffic.
Are you warming it, or are you just trying to find who your audience is at the same time, because then you pull from there?
Exactly. You're identifying whoever is interested in your message, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the first point. It's find the prospect and then find who's interested. So that's the kind of messaging that'll move someone from cold to a warm, right? And there's different ways you know that. Obviously, if they click on it and go to your website, they're interested. If they watch, past 50% of your video or a certain amount of time of your video, they're interested, right? At least somewhat. And that's kind of how you gauge their interest. If people don't interact, well, then you stop marketing to them, right? You've already spent money to put the ad in front of them once or twice. There's no point in showing them again, right? So a lot of times what we'll do is it'll be a video up front, and then what we'll do is we'll continue to show ads to people that only watch more than half of it or watch more than 10 seconds of it, because we know they're engaged, right? So that's kind of what we'll do for like a cold offer. Then once you get down the spectrum to warm and hot, then you can get into like the discounts and let's say the free estimate or stuff like that to get someone to take action, because they they know, like, and trust you by now.
So when someone is cold and goes to warm, is this you set the parameters within Facebook and then it'll automatically push them to the next stage, or how does that work out? Like in practicality, like how would you actually go on?
Yeah, so in practicality it would be a cold audiences, they've never been to your website, let's say, right? So as soon as they click on an ad, they come to my website, that's when that pixel kicks in, that piece of code I was talking about.
Yeah.
So I'll know exactly, let's say I send them to my metal roofing page, I can go in Facebook and say, hey Facebook, show me everyone that's been to my metal roofing page in the last 14 days, let's say, right? And that'll build over time, it'll be dynamic. So everyone that goes there will be added to that pool.
Okay.
So then when I'm running ads to my warm traffic, as the targeting, I'll say, hey, just show me people that went to this page, to this metal roofing page, right? I just want to show ads to them now. I don't want to go after cold people anymore. I just want to show ads to them, right? So that's kind of how it works. It's with the pixel. Pixel is a very important kind of piece of the puzzle.
Okay. So when you set up your overall strategy, like on a cold, warm, hot, do you decide in advance like what kind of steps you're planning to take?
Definitely.
Or do you kind of let me deal with the cold, and once it's worked, let me get to the warm, and then once that's how does that work out?
So so step one is always, it's on the whiteboard. Before you even dive into Ads Manager, you're on the whiteboard and you're kind of mapping out, this is basically a marketing funnel, that's what it is, right? Cold, warm, hot. You're getting prospects at the top and you're getting customers out at the bottom. So it always starts on the whiteboard, and what we do is we'll map out exactly what's going to happen at which stage, right? So which ad are we showing at the top to kind of warm that cold traffic up? And then, what are we going to show them to take action, and what discount can we give them or show them so that they actually, become a lead or whatever. So that's kind of how it always starts on the whiteboard, planning it out before anything. Yeah.
And how open do you have to be to flexibility? Because one thing to plan everything out, it's like, well, this should work.
Oh yeah.
But how do you actually maintain it or adjust during your campaign? Like, how does that work out?
Yeah, I would tell you the times that it works the first time out of the gate is very, very slim. It's Facebook ads is something that's really dynamic. You've got to always be on top of it and just always testing different things and trying a video ad versus a carousel ad versus a slideshow, right? All these are different ad types that you would test as your initial touch point with a prospect. Okay. Some will work better than others. Some will be cheaper. Some will drive leads for a better cost. So it's all about testing at that point.
Okay.
You say some ad styles or location types, depending where they're located, will drive better.
It would be both. In the example I was using, it would be, if I'm trying to get leads for a roofing contractor, he's likely limited to geographical regions, right? So I would say, target these 3 zip codes, let's say, if he just deals with those zip codes. And then I would show that initial metal roofing ad to educate a potential buyer on the benefits. And then whoever watches, a certain amount of that video, then we would start showing them ads geared towards warmer traffic, which might be a video testimonial of someone saying how great the metal roof installing company is.
Okay.
How well they were taken care of when it happened, how much money they're saving on their roof now, all that kind of stuff. And then once, I might show them another ad later on that's, hey, get a free estimate now, or, buy a new roof and don't pay for a year. Obviously this is contingent on the customer.
What they're willing to do.
Willing to give up for their lead, right? But that's basically how it works. It's that whole funnel experience from moving from people from cold to warm to hot.
One interesting thing you touched on, especially since your marketing, let's say, career started with your personal website and all that, which was mostly, I'm assuming, text-based.
Yeah.
And you're talking a lot about videos.
Yeah.
Is that really the way to go on Facebook, or is this what's your take on that? Videos versus just text content, or?
So video right now is definitely the cheapest by far out of all of the ad types. I would say if you can do video for sure. Banners and carousels, static images still work, but videos are extremely cheap. We're talking cents, like 3 cents per view. Which is extremely low.
So not just cheap on an ROI standpoint, like literally cheap on a cost. Yeah.
And video is a great way. It's extremely effective upfront to cold people, because you don't want to be spending an arm and a leg going after people that may or may not be interested in what you're trying to sell at the end of the day, right? So video is a great way to do that. So you show them a video. It's extremely cheap. You blast it out to your target audience. And then you just take care, you retarget, or you show more ads to the people that, show a certain level of interest, either by visiting your website, viewing specific pages, or viewing a certain length of the video.
Okay.
Whatever.
When you're producing content, always native to Facebook, especially at the cold and the warm, or like would you actually push someone out?
Yeah, sometimes we'll push someone out. So if for some reason, at the front, instead of showing a video, we might show a short slideshow that's maybe 15 seconds, which just touches on some things, and then they'll say, hey, to learn more, read this blog post. It might be a blog post. And then they'll send someone to a website. That way we have them on the site, and they're also pixeled. It could also be... I lost my train of thought here. It could also be a downloadable guide if we wanted to. They would just click over to a landing page that asks them for their email address, and then that would be sent out via email, just educating them more. And then we have their email. We can do a whole bunch of stuff with that. So
have you played around much with the form submittal process with Facebook?
The lead ads, yeah. That's something that's also very effective. The only issue with that right now is a lot of customers, so the leads actually stay within Facebook, so you have to export them all the time. There are some APIs, like you can use Zapier to pull them out into your email service provider and stuff. It's still a little clunky, but it still works. Lead ads really work. You just have to go in there and check the leads regularly. So.
Okay.
Do you think as a business, we started with organic, then went to paid.
Yeah.
Do you think organically on Facebook, it's worth it, or it's really about paid right now?
It's really about paid.
Okay.
Organic reach, the last time I checked, which is probably a few weeks ago on Facebook, is down to like 2%, which is extremely low. So you have, in the past you had all these people build up their fan pages to like hundreds of thousands of likes, and they used to get crazy engagement. They've lost all that power now. So it's very dangerous if you try, on any platform, if you try and build your reach or your audience off of the platform and not try and own that relationship on email, it could be dangerous for your business. So it's definitely pay to play now on Facebook.
Okay.
That's not to say organic doesn't work. We do organic, right? People do check out our Facebook page and like, share stuff. But for the most part, you can write a blog post, boost it with $5, and you'll get 100 times the engagement you would if you just left it organically. So
what's the point of not doing it?
Exactly. Yeah. You're putting all this time into creating good stuff. You might as well put a few dollars behind it, because it's your reach will be exponential. So
you touched on email a couple of times, like email lists.
Yeah.
So when you're comparing paid versus your own website, like your own ecosystem, to email listing, like what would you prioritize?
Sorry, in terms of...
So let's say we talked a lot about Facebook ads, talked about the website and the organic side to it, and we talked about email listing, like actually having that access to someone's inbox. How would you prioritize as a business on that? Like, what's important to you?
I would say email is number one above everything else.
Do you mind going into it? Like, why? Because a lot of people like assume that email's like somewhat dead, right? Like, it's all spam. But what's your take on that?
I definitely do not agree that it's dead, just because, the new up and comer is chat. Everyone's moving to chat now, Facebook chatbots and all that stuff. But email is still very much the winner right now. And the reason for that is like I said before, you actually own the relationship. You can contact these people at any time for no cost. So if you have a database of, especially for e-com, if you have thousands of customers on your list, you send an email with a promo and you're making money, right? With ads, you got to pay every time to get in front of the same people, right? So email is by far the most important, of those.
Does it have to be treated with a certain respect? Like, there's certain brands that I used to interact with, but then I got annoyed. Again, spamminess of email.
Yeah.
And I used to look at every single one. Now I'm done with it. So how would you treat email? For someone that's like kind of forsaken email, like how would you actually go back into it, building the list, and what's the best practices?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the point you brought up is actually good. If you're on an email list,
can you please say great? It's not
great. It's not great. Never ask for great, and just greatness comes to me. So if you want, I'll tell you.
I know you said good, and you're like,
I'm like, easy.
This is eureka moments.
He's edging him, trying to get great. But he's not to him.
So at the end of the day, if you leave an email list, because you don't want to be on their email list anymore, and if I'm the owner of that email list, I don't want you on my email list if you're not going to buy anything from me. So I'm okay with letting you go, right? It really is a volume game. Obviously, there's a fine edge, right? You don't want to be spamming people. You want to be providing value, but unsubscribers are unnecessary. It's an unnecessary evil to build your email list. So we're totally okay with people unsubscribing. If they don't want to hear your message,
what's
see
the
you
point?
later,
Not
right?
going to be a customer anyways.
And plus, we're paying to have you in our system, right? If you have tens of thousands of people on your email list, the costs can add up, right? So you want to clean your list regularly for people that aren't opening or clicking.
And if you have a business, let's say an e-commerce business that has segmented type of customers, like customers that focus on one part of your business, one on the other, say product related. How much effort would you put in like segmenting customer groups and sending different email campaigns out to everybody, like really targeting it? Like how would you?
That's a good question. It would depend on how big the email list is. If I have a small list, it's probably not. You have to look at the time involved in segmenting these things and sending out personalized messages. It's probably not worth it if you have a small list. If you have a list in the tens of thousands, then it would be worth it to segment it, find out what people have bought, what other products you can recommend. That's when you can go in and really, dive in and do a whole bunch of segmenting and cross-selling and upselling and all that kind of stuff. But for smaller lists, it's probably not worth it. Yeah, I would say it's more of a time versus ROI type thing.
Perfect. Vince?
Turn on investment. So.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. I didn't know.
Okay. No, I'm just saying, because I have the same issue with him. Time, ROI, trying to teach him what you should be doing.
Vince, speak about time. It's your time to shine. Your favorite part of the day when you get to ask your question.
Yeah. What, you want to ask it this time?
You go ahead. Vince. I don't want to steal away from you.
We're always surprised. It's a question that's just pertinent to the guest, directly to their experiences. In your case, it's probably going to be hockey related. But
nice job on ruining the punch.
Yeah.
Or maybe you don't know the question, so you're like probably going
to. No. So I want to tie in you building your own brand for yourself, but let's say now from a Webrunner perspective, or from you working at Webrunner, if you had the chance to build a brand for three
Webrunner,
it's a tongue twister.
It's
really tough.
3 athletes. They don't have to be hockey related. It could be, but 3 athletes you get to work with and build their website, their brand for them, promote them. And as you know, if someone who's starting up new in any industry or in hockey or whatnot, being able to promote yourself is actually a good thing, especially now, right? You get seen by scouts and so forth. So it could be a young and up and coming individual. This is and why? And why would you work with this person?
It's a very good question. I'm going to.
It wasn't great.
As much as I've played hockey my whole life, I'm a huge basketball fan.
Okay.
So I'd probably go with 3 basketball players.
Okay.
So I'd go with DeMar DeRozan.
Okay.
From the Raptors.
And why him specifically?
Just because he's really cool.
Yeah.
Did you hear what happened on Reddit?
No.
I think it's him. What was it him? Something about someone was depressed on.
It's him. He came out and then a whole bunch of.
It's pretty interesting. The whole community backed him up.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, these players are in the limelight, right? So there's so many. They have huge followings. So they get a chance to do a lot of good. So it's like you said, having sports management right now, like marketing. Like even VaynerMedia's building a whole sports
Vayner Sports and stuff.
Yeah, I wonder where the question came from.
So it'd be DeMar DeRozan, then it would be James Harden, a basketball player, and probably Steph Curry would be really cool too.
What would you say would be the key things that, if you have to give advice to someone who's starting up in basketball, let's say, a young up and coming, what would you recommend that individual do from a social media standpoint? Because there's also the dark side of this. Like everything is recorded. You do stupidities, it's there for life, whether you're 16 or 18 years old or 25, it doesn't matter.
Just to jump in, a funny point. I don't know if you guys have seen a lot of the tweets of like younger hockey players saying, they would tweet like, fuck, I hate the Bruins or whatever. And then they get drafted by the Bruins like 10 years later. And then people share those tweets, they're awesome. They crack me up.
I didn't even realize that. I didn't even think of that.
They're so funny, those tweets. But you definitely got to be careful. Social media, it wasn't, I'm not that old, but it wasn't as prevalent when I was younger.
Yeah.
No one was really sharing every second of their day. Instagram wasn't there yet, so it's definitely dangerous. You got to watch what you put out there. You know what I mean? You have to. I think one of the best ways of doing it is really think if your mother would approve of what you're posting. Like if you can If mom would approve, I think you're good.
That's a good way to look at it. There's many things
for a mama's boy over here, like,
I shouldn't post. There's many things I shouldn't have posted. That's the case. But there's you could, have something as a memory. That's what people forget too. Is like you don't need to post everything you take a video of or take a picture of. Yeah. Like on his bachelor party, we didn't post it. Like it was just fun. We had a good time.
I think you're just trying to get me in trouble here.
No, I'm just saying. You don't have to. And people feel like, I think in these days they feel like they have to show everyone what they're up to and how busy they are, or what they're not up to almost as well at the same time as what they are.
Yeah, nowadays it's like the special moments are the ones that you don't share, that you keep with one another.
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
Cool. It's like then the whole 180.
Yeah. Well, Ben, thank you very much for your time.
Awesome, man.
I really appreciate it. We had a blast.
Yeah, having a blast.
All right, perfect.
And, perfect. So, if anyone wants to reach out to you, where's the best way to get in contact with you?
Webrunnermedia.com.
Perfect.
Pretty much it.
And your website, if they're interested in your ebook?
It's builtforhockey.com. BUILTFOR hockey.com.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank everyone for listening in. Until next time. Next Sunday, that is.
You're such a loser.